Section 1.7. These properties of equality are this last piece of this chapter that we need to learn about here. And they seem a little bit silly when we're working with numbers. But when we get to start including more and more with the letters, the variables, they basically become lifesavers to realize, okay, why is it we can do this again? So for example, one of these properties is the commutative property. Commutative property is that first shaded property you have there. It says basically that A plus B is B plus A, and A times B is equal to B times A. So when you're doing addition or multiplication, it doesn't matter which order you do it in. 2 times 5, you're going to get 10. 5 times 2, you're going to get 10. 5 plus 2, you're going to get 7. Same with 2 plus 5. Okay? With numbers, why would you swap the order? Sometimes with letters, with variables, it's going to just make more sense, look neater, be more obvious what you need to do next. If you realize you can swap the orders. If you realize that S times T and T times S are really just the same thing, that's going to be pretty helpful to you. Next property is associative property. It's one of two that show up with parentheses. It's one we sort of use, I think people tend to know this one pretty much implicitly. So we don't cite it very much. But it basically says if I've got 3 numbers in a row, say A plus B plus C, okay? 1 plus 2 plus 3. The way order of operations says I would add those 3 together is take the first 2 first, 1 plus 2, and then tack the 3 on at the end. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6. What associative property says is it's okay if for whatever reason you want to add the last 2 first and then tack on the first one. So I have this examples written down below at the bottom of the sheet. If you've got 5 plus 3 plus 7, sure, you can take 5 plus 3 first, get 8. Add 7 to that and get 15. Or you could say 5 plus 3 plus 7. You know what? I feel like adding 3 plus 7 first to get 10. And then add the 5 to get 15. Which addition, if all you have is addition across a bunch of additions, plus, 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 it doesn't matter which one you do first. Same thing if you have only times, times, times across. It doesn't matter what you do first. So 3 times 1/5 times 5, sure, the order says you multiply 3 times 1/5 first to get 3/5, and then multiply 3/5 times 5 to get 3. But you might be easier if you say, hey, wait a minute, 3 times 1/5 times 5, like I did below, well, I know 1/5 times 5 is just 1, because 1/5 is the reciprocal of 5. It's the multiplicative inverse. So let's just figure out that that's 1 first and then multiply 3 by 1. Associative property is what says that's okay. But I think people know that in their gut. So I don't stress the associative property as much, but it's a real property and it's there and we teach it. But that's says basically the order that we do these things doesn't matter. Okay? Notice this, everything on this first page of the notes, it's addition and multiplication. So the order does matter if you've got subtraction, say. 5 minus 3 is 2. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Commutative property doesn't work with subtraction. It doesn't work with addition either. Or with division, either. Division. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. But 4 divided by 2 is 2. Division and subtraction, the order matters. which comes first, which comes second. It also matters which subtraction or division you do first, which subtraction or division you do second.